I'm here in beautiful Phuket, Thailand with Alan Soon, who is the managing editor of Yahoo Southeast Asia, covering the 5 main markets of Southeast Asia. And they have a very interesting strategy of trying to increase their news content, but not using traditional media sources necessarily.
Absolutely.
So why can't you use, first of all, why are you trying to increase that content? Is there a shortage of content?
Well, there's never enough content.
Never enough
right?
content out there, okay.
So that's a good starting point. What we need to do is obviously to diversify the content that we have right now. So in the first year of existence, the editorial team in Southeast Asia was busy trying to build these relationships with newspapers. All the major dailies in Southeast Asia are working with Yahoo.
Which is great. This is a good source of content. We're going to get a lot of stuff going on.
Absolutely. But the issue is the articles aren't coming fast enough, right? Because these are newspapers.
Newspaper reporters are slow.
Well, newspapers are slow, right? It's a daily format.
As a former newspaper reporter, I feel a little bit hurt here, but carry on.
The diversity of content just isn't there, right? So if we're working with a big newspaper, they'll send us whatever they feel to be the important stories of the day.
But you don't think that's what netizens want?
Oh, that's what netizens want, but that's why they have newspaper websites to go to, right? So we want to offer everyone a wider slice of the pie. The other thing about newspaper copy is that, as you know, it's written with a very different voice for an online consumption.
More authoritative than casual, more one-ended
exactly.
rather than conversational.
That's right, and that's that part about the conversations. I mean, that's key for us, right? So a newspaper article is written to be published, and it goes to bed, and it's dead.
Right.
A blog article, on the other hand, needs to survive and live. It's a breathing, living story, and the thing about online journalism, as you know, is that the story is never dead. It just keeps going on. Every time someone comes in with a new comment, a new way of looking at something, a new way to phrase something, the story is alive again. And that's what bloggers offer that newspapers can't.
So you started recruiting bloggers across your 5 markets?
Totally. So when we built out the editorial teams in the Philippines and Indonesia, the first thing that we did was to hire prominent bloggers in their own right. So they would bring over their I guess, a halo effect to the company. And so that was the first step. And with that came other bloggers who were of similar kind. And that made it a lot easier because bloggers want to trust people that they know, right? The blogging community, as you know, is a very close-knit bunch of people.
And what is the deal with these bloggers? And if you're a blogger out there, this is the deal.
Well, you know, we pay for the content that we buy, right?
Okay.
Our big goal is to stand behind a new class of professional bloggers.
And what are they what are they writing about? You told me just a minute ago my blog is too boring.
Maybe it's just yours.
Exactly. Well, how do you get something? What's the kind of blog you're after?
Right. So what we want to do is to go after topics that have a wider interest, right? I love your blog, but it's very niche. So what we want to do is to talk about politics, entertainment, lifestyle issues.
So you're looking for the #1 blogger of Indonesia or the #1 blogger of the Philippines?
Totally. The thing to keep in mind is that Yahoo, in the markets that we operate, like for example in Singapore, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, we're #1 on ComScore News, right? So that is a demonstration of the reach that we have. To get that reach deeper and to grow that deeper, we need to diversify more. It doesn't force us to be narrow, it forces us to be wider.
So but your fundamental strategy is very different from the Google one, which is let's aggregate all these news sites and index in a very good way. What you're trying to do is bring in this content that people wouldn't otherwise have, sort of becoming an aggregator of sorts, a net vibes of news?
Absolutely. And the way we do it, I mean, the thing about Google is that it is all based on algorithm, right? We're introducing the human element to it. So it blends all the new journalism, if you will, all the new media. We're still aggregating, you know, from the community, from different sources. But the important cream to that, the polish, the spit and polish, is a human effect that we bring in, where our editors are picking the stories, working with bloggers and saying, hey, we want a story like this. How can you tell it in this certain voice? So we're helping the bloggers.
So you're quite interactive then, it sounds like, with the bloggers.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
it's not a case of them reposting it to your site,
no.
Huffington Post style.
No, that wouldn't work very well for us because we have, I think, a very unique audience, even though it's very wide. We know exactly what people want to click on, what they want to read. So we work with bloggers to fine-tune that voice, to achieve that spit and polish that that gets them the clicks that they deserve, right? In the end, every blogger wants the same thing. They want to be recognized. They want to be read, right? You and I know this as well, right? So it's
yeah, but I won't get recognized and read because you're not going to put my blog on there. But anyways, let's get past that.
widen it. That's right. Let's
So
get
how
past that.
does this model different from Huffington Post, for example?
Huffington Post is actually, well, I would say they're following the Yahoo model, right? So in the last year or so, you've seen the Huffington Post expand its content base. As you know, they started out as a very strong political voice. They realized that, sure, that kind of voice will only get you so far. It gets you credibility. It doesn't get you traffic.
Right.
So recently, they've started expanding, moving more into entertainment, into lifestyle and celebrity gossip, for example. And that's the way that they're moving, right? And that's an area that we've played in for a while now.
And so you're expanding, in other words.
We're still expanding.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank you.